Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and in celebration of the grand tournament being out and me having new cards, today we will be rebuilding the Mage deck. So, let's take a look at what the Mage deck is right now. My Mage was the character that I first came across and got to max level. It is what the tutorial has you play as. It is definitely a style of gameplay that will be easiest for new players. I would recommend everybody play their mage a lot. You'll win easier and such. Uh, so we've got Arcane Missiles, Mirror Image, Mana Worm, Unstable Portal, the Cabal Geomancer, Duplicate, Ice Barrier, Mirror Entity, the Delarian Mage, the Firewalker, Suit Spewer, Fireball, and Ethereal Arcanist, Ogre Magi, Dragon's Breath, Azure Drake, Archmage, and Flame Strike. And so I think mostly we're going to, when we start looking at what cards we could have, we're going to try to improve on that same concept. We're going to try to get more spell damage. I feel like this spell gets double. So I wish I could feel secure in spending 400 for this epic level card. If I did, I would do it. But I don't, so I'm not going to. So you have an ice style of mage you can do, or you can do a flame style, and the flame style particularly, it doesn't have much to be flame. They haven't introduced any kind of terminology that to burn characters, to say this character's burned so they'll take 1 damage each turn or something. No real, nothing like that. Hero power does 1 extra damage. Let's see if we can use these cards. Yeah, we'll create 2 of these with our dust.
Finally, a second chance.
And let's see. Counter spell. This is effigy. I don't think I'd use effigy. Ice block, no. Polymorph Boar. It's an interesting card. I'll probably put 1 in my deck, probably not 2. Spellbender, when an enemy casts a spell on a minion, summon a 1/3 as the new target. Not going to use that. Vaporize, not going to use that. Next secret you play costs 0. Spell damage plus 1. I think we're going to try to do more in that field. Here's a Goblin First Realm card. We'll build one of these. You don't have to just build Grand Tournament cards. Now I have 2 of these. So, you can't create more than 2. That would be a waste of your dust. Add a random spell to each player's hand. I don't think I would do that card. Gain spell damage plus 1. Definitely gonna put that in my hand. Put a copy of each friendly minion into your hand, so you could have multiple copies of the same thing. Not gonna spend the 400 to make that, but it would be a decent card to play. If you have a mech, deal 4 damage. No, not gonna use that. Adjacent minions can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. Not gonna bother to make that. Blizzard, deal 2 damage to all creatures, maybe, but probably not any number of times. Man, I wish I had this, but I don't feel like I should do that. Whenever you cast a spell, add a fireball. I definitely wish I had this card. This is a classic legendary card, and it really changes up a mage deck. Whenever you draw this, deal 2 damage. Nothing real special about that one. Add 3 copies of Arcane Missiles to you. Man, So I don't have the legendary from Classic. I don't have the legendary from Goblins vs. Gnome. And I don't have the legendary from the Grand Tournament. I don't have any legendaries. And then I wish I could do Pyroblast, particularly since we'll be doing spell damage. So the most thing I can play is the Flame Lance now, which is slightly better. I mean, deal 8 damage to a minion. Well, this is deal 10 damage to anything. Oh, it's not quite as good as I thought it was. If this did 8 damage to a regular character, that would be more interesting. And let's just look up the word spell, because that's what we would be looking for in the neutral sets. Spell damage +1, draw a card. It's a legendary. I would wish I had it. Whenever you play or cast a spell, put a copy in the other player's hand. I wouldn't use that. Enemy spells cost 0 next turn. Wouldn't use that. That's kind of a terrible card. Trog. There is an argument you can make about having Trog in a mage deck, so that it just stops mage fighting a mage and you both using the same spells. So there is kind of a thought that this is how you protect yourself as a mage from a mage, is have a creature that gains 1 attack every time they cast a spell. Whenever you target this minion with a spell, deal 3 damage to a random enemy. If I had it, I would use it. Whenever you target this with a spell, give it Divine Shield. Again, if I had it, I'd use it. If you have a minion with spell damage, give +2/+2. That'll definitely go into our thing. Give adjacent minions spell damage. Let's make 2 of these.
Sometimes I forget things.
Can't be targeted by spells. Whenever your opponent plays a spell, you get more thing. Spell damage +1. That's what we're looking for. Silence a minion. This one's called Spell Breaker, and that's why it comes up with the word spell. Add a random spell to your hand. If I had this, I would definitely be playing that in there, but I can't see myself spending 1600 right now. Whenever you cast a 1-mana spell and a random mech to your hand, nah, I wouldn't use that. Copy your opponent's hero power to random. Whenever your opponent casts a spell, summon a Trog. Spell damage +5, dragon. If I had this, definitely would be in a mage deck. So you see how we could get spell damage up quite a lot. Whenever you cast a spell, draw a card. Not really worth it. So that's the custom mage and what we can do with it. Let's get rid of this deck. Come on. It's taken it a while to decide what it's gonna do and make our new thing. My mage is at level 60, so this deck in particular is not really going to be anything that we really use that much. So this one, let's see, this one, and this one, and that's all the cards that do spell damage that I actually have. And that takes 15 of the cards I have. We'll do Flame Strike. I don't think Blizzard's worth it. I'm not sure Flame Lance. We'll do Dragon's Breath, which does full damage and costs 1 less for each minion that died this turn, which is a Blackrock Mountain concept that they didn't have any cards whatsoever that did that. Okay, so this one changes for 4 mana the creatures into a 1/1 sheep. But there was one that would turn them into a boar. After you cast a spell, deal 2 damage. We'll definitely have that. We need more secret spells. So yeah, this is totally better. For 3 mana, the polymorph boar versus just polymorph, it's way better. Deal 8 damage to a randomly enemy minion. Deal 3 damage to a character and freeze it. Let's see. I want one more of these because I have too many spell damage +1 cards and not enough spells. So we'll take out the polymorph boar and put that in. And I really don't have enough spells for this to work. This is definitely a balance. I would love to see if Hearthstone eventually allowed us to have like 60 cards in the deck for a different style of gameplay, or really played up with things like that and thought of new ways that things could work like that, because it is a real balance as we get more and more cards through expansions to have just 30 cards. What's wrong with my custom mage? We're having technical difficulties with the server. As you can see, even the little things apparently call back to Hearthstone server, and being an online game, I can't really complain about any of that, but it's really strange that I can't even click on my deck and load into it without it all getting either uploaded or downloaded from their servers, which are getting pounded. They should have thought of something else. I don't know what the something else should have been, but they should have thought of something else. Yeah, I have this big X, so they've even programmed this into the game, saying there's something wrong with the custom mage. But until they let me get into the collection and see what their complaint is, I don't know. Just click it and sit here for a second. Otherwise, we're gonna have to just end the series without even playing, in this episode without even playing a game, which would be annoying. Come on. What happens if I click on this? I'm fine. I click on this. It's not wanting to work. I wonder if it just corrupted it completely. Maybe I'll have to just rebuild it. Alright. We'll do it again really fast. There we go. Look at how we've just messed everything up here. So making some different decisions here than what we did before. I want to play with some different thoughts. get those spell damage +1 cards in the deck now. I'm at the limit there. Take that into the deck. Then we'll take those. Particularly the spell damage +1 cards. There's a spell damage +1 for every mana level. Now, this, in theory, should overwrite this, so having these cards is possibly a waste of time. And now they've gotten to the point where, like, you can have a 2/6 or you can have a 4/4 with spell damage +1. Interesting. So that looks like that might work this time. Hopefully it does, otherwise we're just gonna have to give up. Just even checking how many packs of cards you have unopened is calling back to their servers, and I've never seen it this slow. People are obviously very excited for the Grand Tournament expansion, and there's a lot of reason for that. It's justifiable. There's a lot of interesting cards. It's a big expansion. It puts some new flavor on what is a slowly growing older and older game.
Jaina versus Anduin.
So let's see how our deck is. Our second deck. We basically rebuilt it twice. We don't need this at the beginning or that. A mage versus a priest. Let's see, play this first. End the turn. This is one of my favorite openings for the mage deck, is have a good defense here. I want to save these. Anything that does damage, I want to save until I have some spell damage up. I don't know how much I really will be able to. Okay, so I need to summon this and inspire, so I could only do that on our 6th turn. Or 5th turn if I summon this, and then next time inspire him, then do that. So this can be played turn 4, then these two can be played turn 5, but I need something to do on turn 3. So hopefully ideally I will get a 3-mana creature with spell damage. That would be nice. No, I get a 4-mana creature with spell damage. Alright, well, let's just do this then and end our turn. So I'm just fire blasting him. He just healed himself last turn. I imagine he's having as bad, if not worse, internet connection as me. I think he has the card back that you would have gotten had you pre-ordered, and I'm still running the card back that I just got latest. In fact, the month is about to end, so I'll be getting a new card back and changing it. These things really don't matter to me, but
knowledge
they're
is
cool.
power, and I know a lot.
Oh, come on, don't kill that guy. Irritating. Right. This.
Master of magics.
And then this. And end the turn. So hopefully what we can do here is have 2 cards with spell damage +1 to see if this gets +4/+4. It shouldn't the way it's written, but there is a possibility it might. Until we try it out, we don't know for sure.
Knowledge is power, and I know a lot.
Let's see.
I learn.
Vaporization commencing.
Job's done.
So this guy has spell damage +1 in turn, and then the question is, if I inspire it twice, if he would just let one of these guys stay alive long enough, would he go to spell damage +2? Let's try this.
I serve the Fire Lord.
2 heroes enter, 1 hero leaves.
Well, let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4. That works.
Vaporization commencing.
And smash this guy in the face. In the turn. So, ceremony is what it's called. It has 6/4 now. That's pretty good. And he's gonna kill everything with a pretty good combination I've been known to play. The Oknai Soul Priest. There you go. Your hero power does more.
A second chance.
So there's 2 damage for you. Do I want to use this or wait? Let's wait. Even though I have 4 mana, I could have used. I'm just gonna wait. He's still at 30. I'm still at 28. We're not progressing very far since we're about to be on our 9th
Quite
turn.
what was planned.
His hand is so full.
Let's negotiate.
You'd think you'd be able to play something.
And I'll let you live.
So the coin is sometimes treated as a spell, so he may very well have gotten something from that. Let's see. This,
Finally.
this, and then this. In the turn. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the fallen hero, couldn't get both of them on the field. That would have been nice. It would have explained whether we get. It should be that we would be doing 3 damage if we had both of those on the field.
Sometimes I forget things.
Exactly what I needed.
Master of magics.
Try that. Well, I need to start doing some major damage if I'm gonna win here, but I suppose so does he. But I am way short in cards. He has a whole handful of cards. I have 1 left. Shadow Form does 2 damage instead of healing 2. If you play Shadow Form again, it will be deal 3 damage. Let's see.
Sometimes I forget things.
So, deal 8 because it has spell damage +1, and down below it has spell damage +1. I was surprised. Surprised that works. That is interesting. Let's continue.
Commencing.
Well, he's gonna kill my guy, so I'll go ahead and use this now. He's gonna kill this guy, and then this guy won't have any spell damage. And he's just doing everything he can to beat
Well
me.
played.
So I think the spell damage deck is one way you could definitely go. There is probably 2 or 3 other ways you could do with the new Grand Tournament Mage cards. I wish this guy would just hurry up and beat me, because that's where this is going to end up, even though I'm winning at the moment. I think I need to, like I've said in every other episode of deck rebuilds, I think I'm going to need to rethink how I go about making these decks and give them some more thought. These are just quick and dirty deck rebuilds, showing an example of what you're going to be starting to think about with the new concepts. And from these points you can start tweaking based on the cards you have. If you don't have the cards I have, obviously you can't have the same deck as me until you do. And if you have better cards than what I have, which is definitely a possibility, then that would also affect the outcome. I don't for a moment pretend like I know how to make even good decks. But it's also very boring if you just go online and look up what's the best deck for Hearthstone, what's the best mage deck for Hearthstone. Because even if you find what actually is the best deck, which you probably won't, that just means you're going to be playing the exact same deck everybody else is playing, and you're probably not going to be playing it as well, and you're probably still going to lose. No deck alone is going to get you to rank 1 or legendary rank, or rank 1 of legendary rank in Hearthstone. It's just never not that way. You have to have patience, you have to have skill, you have to have good cards, you have to be lucky. And remember that when you're playing rank play, you're playing against practically everybody in the world. So even if you got to only rank 20, well, that still means you've beaten quite a lot of people and are more skilled than they are. Hurry up and beat me. I've got 3 life left. You could see how spell plus damage works, but it's maybe just generally as a concept, it's not what you should go for. It takes multiple cards to do moderate increase in damage.
Job done.
So you might want to go a different direction with it instead of spell plus damage. I don't know what else was really in the mage cards. Yep, I deserve that loss, definitely. So there's definitely some stuff I need to go back into and put some thought into that. I'm not sure what I would want to do, but I don't think just spell plus 1 damage is the right way. And even the ability to use your Fire Blast skill, unless you have like the exact 4 to 6 right cards, that doesn't really make a lot of sense either. You're not going to be able to win a game just Fire Blasting the hero over and over again. Anywho, that's it for this episode. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. All of that helps me out. If you want to support me, you can click on my name, Rydo. On the right will be a blue button that says support this channel. Click it and make a donation. If you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.